And with that, we should be live. It's as simple as that. Push of a button. So yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. Well, I should thank you for letting me be here. You guys played a wonderful tournament that I didn't get to watch because I was busy. But congratulations for getting here. It's the final, and thanks for letting me watch. So this is Vijayanagara. We have our three finalists playing the Vijayanagara Empire. It's Gerard Ledoux, right?
Hello.
Playing the Bamani Kingdom, we have Doc 89.
Hello.
And then playing the Delhi Sultanate, we have Inquisitor.
Hello.
And y'all are all set up. So I'm just going to go on mute and let y'all get started.
Okay. Good luck and have fun, guys.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, Saverio, can you hear me?
The card deck we said, right?
I can hear you, although let me just adjust my volume.
Start off with a Mongol invasion.
Okay, controlled by me. Well, we'll do definitely one a mass.
I just can't hear you very well relative to the other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but whatever, we'll make it work. So anyway, thanks for hosting.
Thanks for having me.
Being an encouraging voice for the last year as the game has continued to become deeper into its development and closer to the finish line.
I mean, thank you for designing this wonderful game. It's no secret how much I enjoy it.
Hey.
So yeah, I guess our idea is we certainly can find some things to chat about, but also I'm very excited to watch this game because this has been a month-long tournament, and the way that the tournament was run, there were 27 players, and there were 3 rounds, 1 round per week, and the 27 players each were given a particular faction to play for the whole month, and the current players in this game represent the top players of each faction. So in Inquisitor, we've got an undefeated Delhi Sultanate player, and in Doc 89, we've got an undefeated Bamani player, and Gerard, I believe, was an undefeated Vijayanagara Empire player. So they all had 3 weeks to develop, and so this is going to be pretty cool, I think.
It's a bit wild.
I'm going to keep working on the volume for just a second.
But let's try it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1.
And Garrett, can you still hear me?
I can, yes. Sorry,
okay,
I was trying to
so much better.
Good.
That is so much better.
I noticed we started off with a Mongol invasion. Has that happened often?
It happens pretty frequently, yes. So yeah, maybe I'll say a couple things because I don't know who's going to be watching this exactly, but I suppose I could introduce a bit of the game. The factions are the Delhi Sultanate, the Bamani Kingdom, and the Vijayanagara Empire. We're in the 14th century in the Indian subcontinent, and
that's it for me.
One of the difficulties for the Delhi Sultanate player is that in addition to trying to maintain its grip on the subcontinent, they are having to fend off periodic invasions from Mongols through the mountain passages in the northwest. And so in the game, it is the sequence of play, or the game is organized around a deck of event cards, which you can see at the bottom here, that they're going to play through.
So I dropped down to 4.
And they're composed of a stack of 6 event cards and 2 Mongol invasion cards, followed by a succession card, which has slightly different mechanics briefly. And then the same thing again, 6 event cards, 2 Mongol invasions, then a break, and then again 6 events and 2 Mongol invasion cards. So it is somewhat frequent that this will be a real thorn in the side of the Sultanate player, and it's very difficult, as I think you well know, Garrett, to figure out how to balance your southern attention and your northwestern attention. But that was very much part of the design goal, is to put you in that mode of feeling emotionally motivated to reach to the south to maintain your economy so that you can defend yourself, but then having to figure out where and when to spend that effort. So I thought that's a very interesting puzzle, but for first-time players, it can be eye-opening. And that's something that was so great about this tournament for the month, which was one of the goals of the tournament, was to see about how long does it take for someone to get up to speed on that kind of balancing act. And so we have some fun plots now. We have some data that we can analyze. And from the first game in the first week, the Delhi Sultanate players got hurt for sure. And it was the Bahmani Kingdom that did really, really well in that first game. But then by the time the second game rolled around, the Delhi Sultanate players were right back in it. So the winning factions were pretty well distributed for the remainder of the month. And that was actually very exciting from a design perspective. I mean, it would have been okay if it took more games to get up to speed, but the fact that it was only like 1.5 games until the Delhi Sultanate player is on its feet is nice to see.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
And let's go here.
So let's see what we got going on here. I guess I can share some of these cards. We're looking at some among the less conflict-oriented interactions among the two southern factions, the Bahmani Sultanate and the Vijayanagara Empire. There was a lot of intermingling throughout the 14th, 15th century. They had a lot of positive, mutually beneficial interactions, trade interactions, very important trade interactions. And the game doesn't force you to enter into a kinetic conflict, but that also can come about and did historically from time to time, but not as much as some people might like you to believe. That said, there were some major battles, and in fact, the end of the Vijayanagara Empire was marked after this game ends by the rejoining of the splintered Bahmani kingdoms into one gigantic assaulting force. So it did happen. There were battles, big ones.
And for the command,
this card of Gods and Kings was motivated by there's a faculty member where I work, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, named Jamal Jones, whose research area is amazing because he shows up on campus a couple years ago, and it just so happened to be the case that his research area was in the poetry of the 14th century in the Deccan. So it's very specific interest. So that motivated the design of this card.
And it's a very interesting effect for a coin game.
Mechanically, this is a lot of fun, and especially since it's coming out early.
I think I'm gonna do it now.
It looks like, so it looks like Doc is going to take it, which is fun because what it does is allows him to take one of the event cards, which are not actually used in the game.
Here, maybe that worked. Okay, I'm just gonna take one.
And he's just going to hold on to it for later. And he can later in the game choose to replace the current event card with this one on his turn. So it's a little bit, thematically, it's the poets who are looking kind of more reflectively on this period of time and able to, in some sense, maybe see ahead a bit to what's going to be coming down the pike of history.
And this is an interesting effect for the Bahmani to have in their back pocket, having sort of a free
Mongols?
forcing Delhi to be able to push out of Madhyadesh and Gondwana at some point whenever they want.
Oh, that's a great point. I didn't even look at the specific details. This is related to the Vindhya range, which is this kind of mountainous region that kind of splits the southern peninsula, the Deccan, from northern India. And that buffer is actually very important historically because that mountainous range was the reason why the Delhi Sultanate could not just very easily reach into the south. And so this precipitated in the dynasty following this one, the Tughlaq dynasty. It's why Muhammad bin Tughlaq had this seemingly great idea to move the capital from Delhi down to Devagiri, which is right over here, and renamed it Daulatabad. And he dragged all of the elite nobles with him. It was really, really disturbing activity. Of course, these noble families were deeply entrenched in Delhi, and so it caused major problems. 10 years later, he changes his mind and moves back, but by this time, he's essentially alienated sufficiently many nobles so that they would like to turn on him and in fact start their own faction. That is the birth of the Bamini Kingdom that I've just described.
So let's start here. This guy goes home. That's one.
History is totally different. So,
that's one.
geography, of course, as always, playing a major role. Also, without the mountainous region to the northwest, the Mongols would have been in India long before the Mughal era.
Then we govern here.
That's interesting.
The Mongols did take Delhi in 1303.
Actually, do we govern?
And Alauddin Khalji, the Sultan, managed to race back in time so as to send them off. But that's modeled in the game when the Mongols attack and plunder in regions, the Mongol invasion in regions in the northwest, especially if they get into Punjab or especially Delhi. It's very punishing to the Sultanate on both their resources, and they'll have to recall troops up from the southern provinces. And as Garrick, I think, probably has experienced personally at this point, the Sultan player can end up with a lot of troops being recalled.
Yes, they can.
Very painful.
4. So that was 1, 2, 3.
The Ink Visitor, I watched him play a couple games, and I actually played a game with him not so long ago.
We will.
He's a really sharp player. He's got lots of very good ideas, and it was really fun to watch him get up to speed on this game.
That's
very quickly.
Not very nice of you.
Really strong player. I'm sure I have a funny feeling he's good at a lot of coin games and other games. Just really clever strategic thinker.
1 and 1 with the governor.
And it looks like he's got so he's just placed his governors. These are these powerful pieces, the black hexagonal pieces. Those governors can do a lot of things in the game. They can remove obedient emirs and rajas. So emirs and rajas are these turquoise and yellow rulers in the south. Those are the pieces of the Bamini Kingdom of Vijayanagara Empire. And those can each be in one of two states. If they're face down like they all are now, they are so-called obedient. And if they're face up, they are rebelling. And that all has to do with the relationship that they have in the eyes of the Sultan in Delhi.
Right.
And so they all start off the game obedient, which means essentially just paying their normal tributes back to Delhi, but maybe plotting behind the scenes and thinking about the right time to make a break. But a suspicious Sultan can send a governor to, using soft power, remove some of those obedient units and maybe build a Kasbah, which is great for conscripting troops later. And so it's important to have governors out to do that. It's important to have governors out in the event that the tributary markers are removed from these provinces, which indicates a financial relationship continuously towards Delhi. Once they're removed, when the southern factions will rebel, it requires a governor and control, like a majority of pieces in that space, to put a tributary marker back down. But Inquisitor has he's made an interesting strategic choice here, because he's sent governors into Maharashtra in the west, which is kind of the home base of the Bamini Kingdom, or the nascent Bamini Kingdom, and Gujarat also to the west. Those are both two prosperity regions. It's because they have port access to Central Asia, and they're very important historically.
No problem.
And so they're more valuable. The problem with putting governors there is that the Bamini Kingdom has the ability to conspire with them, meaning that one of their special actions, if they have the chance to use a special decree, is to convert those governors into Bamini emirs. And so I think I like this play from Inquisitor, though, because as long as the Baminis are conspiring, they're not doing their other special actions. In particular, they're not building forts, and they're not trading to build up a strong pool of cavalry. So it could be an interesting distraction flare from the Sultan. Maybe he knew all along that by sending that second cousin out to Gujarat, that he would probably He probably wouldn't be loyal, but it's okay. He'll be a distraction.
That's interesting.
Well, it's kind of a
that it can.
gift to be killed.
It's a good perspective that it could be a gum up of Bamani, what Bamani would like to be doing. Alternatively,
I think in the 3 games across the course of the tournament, we certainly saw a very rapid improvement in some of the strategic decisions that the players had access to. Some of that is just getting the rules in, which happens, I think, pretty quickly. But even by the time we got to the second half of the first game, or even or especially into the second game, I think people knew the rules well enough to start to become a little creative. But there are still a lot of other layers of the onion that I think you can peel of that type, where once you really start to absorb, and as is always the case with these asymmetric games, like you kind of, once you appreciate how each of the factions is, what they're trying to achieve and how they can achieve it, then you can start to gum up the gears, as you say. So,
and it's interesting you mentioned
strategies,
the conspire potential, because Bamani's event currently is to conspire.
Okay, so it might seem strange, perhaps, that an event, if you're familiar with the coin game, say that an event would just give you a decree, a special, called special operation in some of the other coin games. But you'll notice at the center of this card here that it has the option to stay eligible. And that means that by taking that event, the faction can carry out either one of the unshaded or shaded rules, but then also will remain eligible for the next card. And that stay eligible feature is on 2/3 of the cards in the game. And that leads to what we think is a very kind of a more dynamic experience. Players are not waiting as long in between their turns as can sometimes happen. And it can feel fun to just kind of sneak a decree in there, which you would not normally be able to do if you just took a limited command, for instance. That would just be one of your basic commands that you can do. Even that, though, playing around the sequence of play is another type of strategy that I don't think players quite got to. Some of them were starting to. Doc here crushed the competition almost. I think he played a bunch of practice games before the month started as the Bamani Kingdom. So he did his homework and he earned his spot here. But I think he seemed to be quite adept very quickly. There it was, the conspiracy. The governors are gone. They're emirs now. But he was quite adept at taking a limited command followed up by a full command and decree, and kind of using that kind of double move is very important, especially maybe to the Vijayanagara Empire. We're still thinking about that a bit.
Oh, look at that.
And I will take the command and decree.
Michael is actually going to be is going to be playing the game with some people at PAX Plugged this weekend. I think he has a few games set up. He was very interested in doing so, and so we sent him out a printed kit, and I think he's arranged some games. I think he said he was next to Tom Vasel, who was introducing himself at the time to the Shut Up and Sit Down people.
I'll do this.
And then, of course, I had to give him a hard time for not setting up the game immediately.
I go up on here, and then with my decree, I'm gonna.
I think there's this
3, 4.
Is his name Rodney Smith?
Rodney Smith,
from Watch It Play. So he fell
And
deeply into these games.
2 more captures.
Deeply,
which was very entertaining to watch.
I think everyone who's into these games really loved watching him fall down the coin hole there. And he also seems to be a very big fan of Robin Hood. And then the second game in the series that this one launches, the Irregular Conflict series, is on Robin Hood, Jest of Robin Hood by Fred Serval. And so I think I think at a minimum this series of games will get some visibility through Rodney's love of them.
And you
very
are
fun.
the one who can stop him, not me. So.
And both this and Just Robin Hood are very fun games and excellent intros to the coin series. So there's no doubt in my mind they're going to do a wonderful job of being ambassadors to the greater series.
So 2 troops.
Yeah, I think that's probably a goal that a lot of people have with some of these games nowadays. It certainly was one of the main initial goals for this one, is to make it a perhaps I say too much, but let's just say I have a number of people in my personal life who I would really love to get to enjoy some of these experiences with me, and that was hitting on a little bit of headwind. And so very much so early on in the design process, it was like, how do I get these people in Wisconsin to play these games? So it had to happen. But yeah, I think people pick it up pretty quickly, even those who haven't played too much coin. So that's the hope. And then, of course, the hope is to make sure that it has enough strategic depth so that it can be a very interesting puzzle for a very long time. Many games getting deeper and deeper into it.
That's it.
And of course, we spent a lot of time on the history. And as a matter of fact, so there are a number of books that the game is based on, and research articles. But if there is one book that stands out more than any others, it's called India and the Persianate Age, actually. India and the Persianate Age.
Yep.
By Dick Eaton, who's a professor at the University of Arizona. And I've recently had a very, very entertaining number of interactions with Dick about this game. He is extremely excited, and I think we'll probably play it together sometime soon. But he's about to head back to the Deccan, I think, for more research in the coming months. It's been very fun. So I actually sat at the annual conference for South Asia, which happens every year in Madison, Wisconsin. It's an academic conference. And then for fun, because it was right here, I set the game up, and it got a lot of attention by South Asia historians, which has been great. And we have a historical consultant. Her name's Aparna Kapadia. She's at Williams College. And she has just been fantastic to work with for a very long time now, making sure that we have the right things to read and just bouncing ideas off of her. And the fact that the Bamini Kingdom is turquoise, I think, originated with some of her commentary on the turquoise throne and other ideas. But so here we're in the first succession card. So we've gone through the first pack of 6 events and 2 Mongol invasion cards. And now it is the zenith of the Delhi Sultanate. This is when
I guess
this is kind of near the transition period between the in the game. This is the transition period between the Khalji dynasty and the Tughlaq dynasty. And it offers the Delhi Sultanate an opportunity to run a huge campaign. It also allows the Bamini Kingdom to benefit in cavalry, depending on their influence and the forts that they've built, and the Vijayanagara Empire will get some resources for its influence and temples that it's built. And it looks like Gerard has done a nice job of building some temples and gaining some influence before this first succession card, so that he can get that immediate benefit. I see, he knows what he's doing. These players know what they're doing. This is very fun already. I'm talking too much. I should just get some popcorn. You can mute me though, right? Like, it's that easy.
Mute you, but everything you're saying is so wonderful. I wouldn't want to do that. But I do want to inject, maybe for people who don't know the game as well, that this is also the turning point for the Tughlaq dynasty, as you mentioned, which now means the Bamani Kingdom and Vijayanagara Empire can rebel against the Delhi Sultanate. So this is where the game really starts to heat up, right, as they begin taking territory from the Sultanate.
Yeah, it's a fairly short game. Relative to other games of this type, but it still has kind of 2 phases. So we've kind of just gotten to the end of the build-up phase, and as you say, now that the Tughlaq dynasty has settled into Delhi for a number of reasons, this basically opens the door to some southern rebellions. And so basically we shift into a totally different gear now, as the southern factions, if they've set themselves up well, can start to rebel immediately. And as a matter of fact, I think we're going to see the Vijayanagara Empire rebel immediately.
That's what it looks like.
Which would make sense because, A, they're nice and far away from Delhi, so they have a little bit less to worry about. But also, they don't get to start to keep the taxes for themselves until they do so. So in order to build their own economy, they need to cast off these tributary markers, which they have now done. Now these provinces are Vijayanagara-controlled independent provinces. Control just means having a majority of pieces. Independent means they have rebelled. And associated with any rebellion, the Rajas in those provinces will flip
Not
to
bad.
rebelling. And that's because
Are you done?
the Sultan,
Okay, I will limited command
Just help
govern
them out here.
in Gujarat.
that's because the Sultan is going to take very close note of the fact that these Rajas are not
That's it.
loyal to him.
Next card.
Next card, please.
This is not going to be a blank card on the game prints.
That's not an artistic decision?
One card for that is very important to each of the three factions. We have some other ideas about what to do with those artistically, but those will wait until we're just a little bit closer to the final print.
That's actually maybe a good question. How final is the art on all the other cards, besides this blank one?
With a couple minor exceptions, for instance, the Vindhya range, I think we need to adjust the color on that a little bit, but essentially everything is this dynasty card also is another card that, especially because of its prominence in the game, is going to be reworked. But otherwise, the event cards are essentially set.
Gotcha.
No, that's it. These three spots.
And that's one thing I had to learn in the design process of this game is just how challenging it is to find images that are, I mean, we have very little physical record from this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly no nice images. Artwork is all essentially archaeological in nature, which is fine. It's just few and far between that you have reasonable images to use for cards, but also there are copyright laws that I had to learn all about, which, people who work in this industry a lot know a lot more than I do about. But as a first pass, I mean, I threw all these wonderful images that I found on the internet on these cards, and then of course 6 months go by, and the reality set in of like, oh, okay, wait, we have to actually follow the laws of the land.
I don't really know what to do.
So, which factions have you played so far in this game?
I have played all three by my recollection.
Did your first experience as the Delhi Sultanate, was it challenging, would you say?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I did have prior coin experience, so the concept of, having that spinning many plates and putting out fires faction, I did have some experience with that going in, but it was still challenging adapting to the intricacies of the game in particular.
And then, of course, there's the meta game to attend to. But I really enjoyed watching you play with some of the people that you play with on here. And there was one, and I think it was this guy Hector.
Yeah.
Who there was a lot of horse banter going on, and I don't remember if it was exactly Hector, but there was one ending of one of the games that you guys played that was just erupted into some combination of consternation and joy and
we've actually had a few plays that were like that. It's the game has sparked such wonderful excitement and emotion basically every time we've played it
as well.
And that, of course, is exceedingly wonderful to watch from the design perspective, because of course that's what we're trying to do. Explore a real model of a real historical period and also have a lot of fun. Why not? Why not?
And 3 hits to...
Can we do both? Can it be done?
Yes, and 3 hits to you.
So it looks like we just had a Sultanate battle against the Vijayanagara Empire in Gondwana. Am I paying attention correctly?
It appears that was a limited command that the Inquisitor used to perform a quick attack on Gondwana. And although they are not yet paying tribute back to Delhi, it is not a Vijayanagara controlled independent province anymore. So they will not be able to use it to tax.
Yeah, I mean, the event is really cool.
And again, for people who haven't played this game before, the points are based at the end of the game. It's just a comparison of victory points to see who wins. But the Delhi Sultanate starts off the game with 18 points and only slides backwards. They're trying to hold on to tributary markers in these provinces, representing the tributary relationship they have with these minor kingdoms.
Bye-bye, Caspar.
Meanwhile, the other two factions are trying to remove those tributary markers, plant their own flags. They get points for those and for their buildings and for their influence, which is on a track on the bottom left of the board. So, and I mentioned earlier that in order for the Sultanate to place that tributary marker back down in Gondwana, he's going to need to march in or find a way to get a governor to walk in there and inform the rulers there that they will be paying tributary payments again.
So plus
certainly how it happened historically.
1 horse and 2 horse. Thank you.
More often than not, the Sultanate could engage in a huge campaign and bring a huge army down to the south and essentially just ring the doorbell of the Kakatiya Empire or the Yadavas or the Hoysalas and just gently remind them. How about you start paying tribute again, and maybe a couple of horses and elephants for now, just right, and that would be enough. They were so powerful based on the technologies that they had already acquired from Central Asia at the time in terms of cavalry and siege technology that they were a much stronger power for the first half of this century, at least, before they begin to dwindle and before the Bahmani kingdom starts to rise in that place instead. And then sometimes they would lay siege to a city like Warangal, which is off to the east. So that was once the seat of the Kakatiya Empire.
Basically,
and after saying, "Hey, no, the check's in the mail," one too many times, Ulugh Khan, who was the prince at the time of the Tughlaq dynasty, came and just leveled the place. But it appears that the embers of that empire, some of the Nayaka warrior kings who are kind of represented as these rajas, which can be unlocked with greater influence to the Vijayanagara Empire, they started to they led to some important building blocks for that empire to rise up. All these fallen kingdoms joining back together. Let's see. In fact, so we've got the event card right now is the Musunuri Nayakas, the warrior kings who rise in the shadow of the Kakatiya Empire, right on cue. and in the shaded, the Telugu warriors are no match for siege technology from Central Asia. That was almost weirdly timed.
Did you stack this deck?
I did not stack this deck.
Let's govern. We'll do it here. We'll do it here.
Here come the governors again. So I think a Delhi Sultanate player, if they don't, they have to do a lot. If they don't pay attention to the Mongols, they're toast. If they don't have enough governors out early in the game, it's hard to get them out late in the game because they can only place them where they cannot easily place them into a Bahmani or Vijayanagara controlled independent province. So you would have to march them in or use a campaign to bring them in. And so you do run some risk of, if you don't have them out there in the mid game, you'll need them and you won't be able to get them in the late game. But they're needed to demand obedience, which is one of the special actions of the Delhi Sultanate, to plant that tributary marker back down. Inquisitor seems to be very good about keeping his governors out, which I enjoy. I've also liked exploring strategies where maybe sometimes you stack some governors in the same province and then they can kind of all flood out together. That's one way to prevent some of the conspiracies of the Bahmani kingdom.
Jason to Chittor.
And Doc is a little bit slow on the rebellions right now, which is a pretty reasonable strategy for the Bahmanis. They're closer to Delhi. As soon as they rebel, the difference between an obedient emir and a rebelling emir is that the Sultan can attack a rebelling emir.
Turn down.
And if there's even so much as one rebelling emir in the province, there's collateral damage. They can attack all of them. And so this is kind of a quiet strategy. One of the other designers, Matt Johnson, who the idea to run commentary during this final game was his, and so really a bummer that the schedules didn't work out that he
get a
could join.
foot.
But that's certainly how he likes to play the Bamini Kingdom, as a quieter, more secretive, later to rebel kind of faction.
So you think this is an intentional ploy on Doc's part, and not simply the Sultanate oppressing the Bamini Kingdom?
Doc is so good. He practiced so much. He's such a strong player that I am certain that everything he's doing is intentional.
Very wise man who knows this game very well.
So I can't quite hear them talking because it's really hard for me to hear you and them at the same time. So I'd be curious to hear their. I'm gonna have to, I guess, watch your stream later to see what kind of negotiations are going down.
And advance and
the only risk he's running is the longer nobody rebels in the southern provinces, the more comfortable economically the Sultanate will be.
Right.
When they collect tribute, they're going to get a huge influx of funds and cavalry, but especially funds. And then that just kind of supports them comfortably for the late game as well. So it's a timing. It's just a delicate timing. When's the right time to pull the trigger?
Yeah, I see. I see what you mean.
So we'll see. We're still right about mid game. Yeah, we're halfway through now.
And I see Doc is spreading out into multiple regions to start setting up his own economic engine for trade.
Exactly. The Baminis benefit from having their pieces in as many provinces as possible, because then when they trade, they get that many resources. And if they have influence, they'll get more cavalry when they do that.
All right. Where are you doing compromising gifts?
So Doc's got 2 forts out. Forts are good for defending against attacks. And also contribute to control. And this is the mysterious Ashvapati Lord of Horses card, Invisible Lord of Horses. This was the name given to the Bamini ruler because they had such immediate access to cavalry, both through trade from the west coast to Central Asia and through the eastern Bengal and that dimension. So they had a huge
over here
facility with cavalry, and Doc is a big cavalry player. So he's got a couple forts. He's got most of the cavalry in the game right now. That might just be his strategy. He's just building up huge defenses, and we'll wait until just the right time to pull the trigger on everything. Cavalry are really powerful in battle, as they were historically. The Vijayanagara Empire doesn't have access to them as much in this century, although in the following century, they're going to start to import commanders and technology from the Baminis, and they're going to become much stronger for it. And they're going to end up rising into the dominant power in the Deccan for the next 2 centuries. And at their peak, they're the second largest city in the world behind Beijing.
Wow.
Sprawling 500,000 people that work in temple towns and an interrelated network of economic activity. The lords of the eastern and western oceans.
I am now losing steam.
Portugal will ally with them to take Goa on the west coast. The Portuguese will squat there until the 1960s.
No, what do we do?
It's a big and important part of human history. Doc has so many cavalry in the game. When the cavalry pool runs out, there's 10 cavalry tokens in the game, but if you need one and there isn't one to be had, then you can take one from one of the other factions, which in some sense represents like a technology advance.
And that's actually what we just saw, because when Doc used the event, he took them directly from the Sultanate, I believe.
Well, that's life.
Yep. No, Doc's a very good player. Doc's gearing up to be able to control the south with his cavalry might. Vijayanagara may need to do some good negotiating here. They also are going to want to unlock these potential allies in the Nayakas by enhancing their influence, which they can do economically when they migrate into a space with the Baminis. They can spend a little bit more to enhance their influence. That's a zero-sum action because the Bamini influence goes down when they do that. Or if there's a battle, the losing faction loses an influence and the other faction gains one. That's another way. Or on the event card sometimes. but both factions get various benefits from having strong influence in the south, and both need to really keep an eye on that. Of course, if there's too much infighting, the Delhi Sultanate loves that.
Of course.
There's nothing like playing
But that's life.
a 3-player game and watching the other 2 fight. you two enjoy. I've seen crafty Sultanate players fund this activity sometimes. I'll send you some resources and some cavalry, and you guys go and do your thing, and I'll come and sweep in later and enjoy what remains.
Yep.
Okay, so limited rebel in Endra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So the Bahmani ruler was known as Ashvapati, Lord of Horses, for that reason.
Yep, I noted.
The Vijayanagara Empire ruler was known as Lord of Men, based on their gigantic population. And later, in Orissa, the Gajapati Empire was known as the Lord of Elephants.
So we could hit his resources.
There's lots of interweaving of the history of this region and
four looks cool.
Hindu texts in particular down in the south.
I think that's the play.
Mm-hmm.
Another Mongol invasion.
This is our second of this stack. Am I remembering correctly?
I can take gifts again.
Or is this the first of the stack?
Back up to 6.
This is the second of this stack, so that's going to hurt the Sultan, but the Sultan will have some knowledge that they'll have a couple of cards
of safety
to relax.
Right.
And where should I take my horses from is the question.
To rebuild.
Still need to get rid of these Delhi soldiers, so okay, next card.
So the Bahmanis are still a little sluggish on their. Oh, I thought we were later in the game. Okay, so this is the halfway, or it's at least past the halfway point now, because we're coming up onto the second succession card, the Rise of the Rebel Sultans.
Right.
And this kind of marks when, historically and time-wise, this would have been when the Bahmani Kingdom and Vijayanagara Empire really raised up their own flags, and there are some battles between the Bahmani Kingdom and the Delhi Sultanate, back and forth over Daulatabad and Devagiri. At this point, the Vijayanagara Empire, no, I take that back, is the Telanganas that were, I think, sending cavalry in support of the Bahmani Kingdom to fight against the Sultan. So there are all sorts of interesting alliances that formed and then would fall away. But this game goes over a century, so there's a lot that can flow. Each one of these event cards more or less represents 5 years of history. So, and here again, the Telugus are living a mythic legacy. So this has a similar flavor to the previous, different mechanics, but still looking at the interspersed, collapsed embers of fallen kingdoms. And Vijayanagara to act. Do they want it? They get some influence. They get to compel. Compel is how they add new allies and can travel great distances very rapidly, not by migration, but just by picking up the phone to a neighboring province and finding new allies there.
So let's probably do it in...
Little known fact, the Vijayanagara Empire invented phones.
Really?
No. No, not at all.
I was wondering what possible way that could be true.
Gondwana back in the hands of Vijayanagara. The Sultan doesn't lose any points there because they had already lost their tributary marker before.
Right.
Okay.
But we're seeing quite the aggressive push by Vijayanagara. They've secured their whole little southern tip of the continent, of the country, and then on to Gondwana.
Okay. I think we are going to build a...
this is a challenge for the Vijayanagara Empire in the game, is to somehow find a way to... It can feel safe to turtle down there, but you can't really win the game if you just try to sit tight in your own region. So you do need to find a way to punch north a bit, or at least to have a great deal of influence.
With the temple.
Speaking of, we just saw a big swing by Bahmani
There it was. Oh, yeah. Okay. So now the Sultan is crying a bit.
Yeah, quite a lot, I would think.
Now the Sultan is wondering where
did it all go?
Where is the money going to come from
where
now?
I'm now supposed to be. I lost.
Yeah.
At least they'll be the only one eligible coming into the new stack. But economically, I don't think they're where they want to be for having just lost so much territory.
They only get half of their points, the tributary value, when they collect tribute. So right now, since they have 8 points, they would only collect 4 resources. That hurts as the Sultan if you need to do a lot of things. So
will you?
So it may actually be worth trying to set up a campaign to go and demand obedience. But there's opportunities in Malwa up in the north here, and in Gujarat there are a lot of troops, and in Bengal with a governor. So those governors could march with those troops into some of the higher prosperity regions like Maharashtra to plant down the tributary marker again, which sometimes the Sultanate might want to wait until late game to do.
I don't really have
but
money, do I?
Economically, I think I just overheard Inquisitor complaining about money. So yeah, that may require some attention sooner rather than later. And the Mongols have been comfortably dealt with so far in this game. So
and you have
so he could probably
all the horses in the world.
Yeah, he has.
Probably think about doing something like that.
Which is a problem that you will have to deal with as well.
To get further into the south, into Vijayanagara's kitchen, he would need to do a larger campaign rather than just a single march.
I don't have. I don't know what you're talking about.
Those are independent ones.
Saverio, by any chance, did you notice if Bamani Kingdom spent the resources for that series of rebels?
I didn't. We should ask. Hey, Doc, did you pay for those rebellions?
Good call. I don't think I did.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Twitch
Garrick
chat.
is here to keep you honest.
Oh, Twitch chat's here to keep us honest.
Perfect. Sorry, guys. It's gonna take a while. This is
No, it's a complicated situation. Yeah.
Pretty important campaign.
Okay, so I just overheard that Inquisitor's thinking about a pretty important campaign.
Right. So the Rise of the Rebel Sultans gives that free campaign, and obviously this is a pivotal moment for Sultanate.
But there are new Mongols.
Yeah, this really is. Looking back, this will probably be as he can appreciate. It's really going to matter what he decides to do here, I think, for how the end game plays out. There's nothing obvious to me for him to do. He's going to be able to do well. He's all alone, so he's going to be able to demand obedience, as you were suggesting on the next card. So if he sets himself up with just the right campaign now,
so let's do.
He can get that done all at once.
1, 2.
I have a funny feeling he's going to do this pretty well.
3.
These players were really good by the end. Again, still lots of strategies that they've not yet quite started to explore, but still it was like the creativity happened very quickly, which was really fun to watch. Lots of popcorn.
Looks like we're seeing a pretty aggressive mobilization against the Bamani.
It's tough to be the Bamani Kingdom that close to Delhi. Just as the Sultanate has a two-front situation, so do the Bamani Amirs. And everybody thinks they have it the worst.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Vijayanagara says, I can't punch northward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bamanis say, I'm getting sandwiched.
So these two.
Sultan says, you guys don't even have to deal with the Mongols. What's your problem?
You got limited commands. Sorry. I didn't think this through as well as I should have.
Uh-oh, am I hearing campaign remorse?
Yes, you are.
Then that's not a very smart idea.
I think Inquisitor may roll this back and try again.
Mhm.
I don't know how historical that is, but we'll allow it.
Mm.
How do you feel about people rolling back their turns in games generally?
Oh, I'm generally supportive of it.
Basically means that
For me, I don't see why not.
Right.
no point.
There's
I
a
guess it
larger
matters if-
discussion here about whether you find
So
mistakes
this guy
in
was-
games interesting. And I think
Yeah.
there's an argument that they generate
These were
more different game states, but not necessarily more interesting game states.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. You want to send
So-
these guys down here?
I can imagine, like in a tournament setting, if depending on what's on the line, it can matter more to have very strict guidelines on that kind of thing.
This is
Obviously,
true.
in
This is true.
chess, obviously, it makes sense in chess not to be able to read your opponent's
Let's
response to
do,
your move before you
here.
commit.
Here.
But for these historical games, I don't know. I
here.
really feel like this is storytelling, joint
So I
storytelling.
just,
So why not?
I'm gonna happily.
Did Delhi pick up an extra cube? I could have sworn it had only
Vacate.
4 before the first campaign attempt.
I think you're right about
Bangladesh.
that.
Do we want to say something?
You could ask. Why not?
If I lose control of
You lose control of
Papa
that,
Raj,
yeah.
but
Yep.
Real quick, did Delhi gain an extra cube somehow? I think it had 4 before your first try at the campaign Inquisitor.
Yeah, it's possible.
Then it must have been from Malva.
I think it would have been from Rajput, from the way you moved from Delhi to Rajput, and then
could just
Rajput.
you could include Delhi in the
Yeah.
campaign if you want, and just move anybody. around.
Yeah. I'm actually happy to leave it. I'm happy to leave it at Malva at the moment, I think. Yeah. Okay.
cool.
So, limited command for Maharashtra.
Okay, so he ended up
Oh.
not diving into
Potentially
Maharashtra,
this-
which is an interesting
no
strategic
problem.
choice.
No
It is not easy to hold on to Maharashtra
Um,
because the Baminis can
Free limited command.
rally there very effectively. So I guess this Sultan is playing the long game on giving them a little bit of space so that he can still control Malwa and Gujarat. Those two, Malwa is at the center at the top here near Delhi, and then Gujarat's off to the west coast. And those are both two prosperity
I think we're gonna
provinces. So the Sultan is making the decision that by holding on to those and by Bengal, the fact that, oh
with
man,
support
the Sultan's got Bengal,
Bangladesh.
Malwa,
Yeah,
Gujarat.
okay.
That puts him in a pretty good position
I'm rolling.
because at the
Thanks.
end of the game,
Nice.
Three.
Timur is going to invade. And then
Okay,
depending on
so
how
I'm
well
gonna
the
go-
Sultan does against that invasion,
One of them
the
is
Sultanate player can win up to 3 points.
Yeah. Okay.
Or lose up to
and-
3, right?
Could lose up to 3.
Any
You can definitely lose to
Any
Timur,
non-hits?
as was enjoyed historically
No, I'll pass.
Okay,
by the
me too.
Tughlaq dynasty.
If I get 1 influence from there and you drop down 1 influence.
Yeah.
The next dynasty, the next Delhi Sultanate dynasty after the Tughlaqs was essentially a
And
ruler
I
put in
get
place by
free
Timur
money
when he
slash
left.
horses, right?
Okay, you'll be the new Sultan in Delhi, and you'll send me
I'm gonna take
stuff.
all
Okay.
money. Brings me up to 5 resources.
Okay, and then it's probably time to free rally.
So we're now on to Vijayanagara's limited command.
Yeah, let's take a look at what they're able to do.
And take
So this is the Sangama brothers, who are the founders of this empire, Harihara and Buka.
Not a fan of that at all.
So they get a limited
Yeah.
command, and then depending on their controlled independent provinces, they can gain some resources or cavalry, which is a big deal for them because it is hard for the Vijayanagara Empire to come by cavalry in the game.
And it looks like they just took the cavalry from Bamani.
Yeah, they noticed that they were dramatically outmatched by their neighbors to the north. So that was a smart play, I think. That was a very smart play. But this card represents the founding of the Bamani Kingdom, the moment where they snap. It's the Tughlaq Sultan, as probably many sultans would be, became a bit paranoid about being usurped, and so had 89 commanders rounded up and killed. In response, a great uprising and the beginning of the Bamani Kingdom, which in this game seems to have happened at about the right stage of history. Not that the game forces railroad the historical outcomes, but it's a model, so historical outcomes happen with some frequency, but ahistorical outcomes can be explored. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people like to explore these games. Certainly, that's true of myself.
And this card represents an interesting opportunity here for Sultanate to place a tributary marker back in either Maharashtra or Madhya, if I'm interpreting the effect correctly.
That's right. So it's adjacent to Devagiri. So what happened is that after, so first there is the assassination of the commanders. Then there is an uprising in response in the beginning of the Bamani Kingdom. And then a few years later, the Sultan comes back in force to wrest back Devagiri from the Bamanis. So it wasn't just a one-off. There were a couple of back and forth engagements.
Let's start with Rajput Kingdom.
And I think at that time the Sultanate actually did manage to knock Zafar Khan and the Bamanis off of Devagiri. Devagiri, if you haven't seen it, it's beautiful. This there's a fort built on the top of this mountain. A huge amount of it has been bored out around the sides by I think it's the Yadava Kingdom centuries before it. It's incredible.
Oh, did you just see the Sultanate roll?
You have no cavalry, right?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
That's very unfortunate.
That's a bad attack. That is, and the Bamanis are so comfortable with cavalry that they're just going to go ahead and screen that hit, so that the Sultanate was entirely ineffective. And that's why it pays to have cavalry.
We attack here with that's it.
Both the Bamanis and the Sultanate have done a good job of setting up their buildings, so the forts or the Kasbahs, and those are important for a couple of reasons. But one of the reasons is that you can assist
not doing anything. Just take that guy off.
Attacks on neighboring provinces. So
and then
Inquisitor, I don't know if he needed to in this case or wanted to, but he could have brought in up to 2 units from Malwa in that attack in Gujarat.
It looks like that's what he's doing here for Madhya, having 2 from Malwa do a little incursion down there.
Yep, just a little poke. Why not? Although the Sultan is spending
quite a lot of their resources.
Quite a lot to do a little poke here. Oh, you know what he's doing though? You know what he's doing? This is clever. If this is what he's doing, maybe it's clever. Is just trying to maybe drain some of the cavalry strength from the Bamanis.
Okay.
In this case, that turned out to not play out, but depending on the roll, it's maybe a decent gamble.
An Inquisitor may be reticent to commit too many forces directly to Madhya with the Vindhya Range card in Bamani's pocket.
That's a great point. That's a very good point. You must play a lot of games.
Occasionally.
That's 1 resource and 1 point. So we are all equal.
Tie ball game.
Yeah.
Tie game.
Okay, we're gonna start. We're gonna start getting the pressure cooker going here pretty soon.
Oh, this is a painful event to miss out on for Sultanate.
Yeah.
If the Sultanate wants to get south and to set up a base down there, this is a great card for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I reduced a few of his horses. The rest is for you to do.
4 troops and a governor.
Yeah.
and some cavalry. Yeah, I mean, and stay eligible. It's pretty
And
it's pretty
resources.
tempting. And resources.
Because,
yeah,
I mean, it may not be cavalry in this case just because of how few resources the Sultanate had. Well, if they could take it.
yep, the Sultan misses out on that one. Based on the length of the game, since it's a short game, the action economy is pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why the events have to be pretty powerful, which is also pretty fun, I think, and dynamic. But with such a short game, if the events weren't powerful, you would just never take them.
With the command, we would...
But it adds a lot of flavor to the game when an event is taken. It's kind of fun.
It is. It is.
Get...
This game certainly does not conform to the idea of events being a trap, like people sometimes say about the mainline coin games.
3 games.
I think that's probably
Let's get
still a big debate. You could get some spicy responses to that comment, maybe. Oh, I don't think that is a Vijayanagara controlled province. I don't think that is Vijayanagara controlled there in Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah. And we will come.
And that's because the fort counts as a piece, and so neither faction has a majority in that independent province. It's independent because there's no tributary marker, but then it just leans on majority.
Oh, that's
for
our
control.
independent fort. That's nice.
And I paid for my...
It's really fun to watch these players in the final. They are all so good. It was great. This month was so much fun. I'm going to go through withdrawals for sure immediately.
I was so
After
sad.
this.
I ended up being so busy through it. I really wanted to watch more games.
Place 2 emirs in Tamilakam.
Yeah,
This goes to uncontrolled.
Sorry, my bad.
Yep.
We're seeing a little bit of tit for tat between Bamani and Vijayanagara here.
That's how it begins.
Yeah, I'm taking 1 from here. 2
I
from
have
over
no
here.
horses.
One
I
thing
have
I
no
found
army right now.
just interesting to think on is
First moment of joy I've felt this
that the
game.
model allows you to explore a bit is that if the nascent Bamani Kingdom and
we're all
Vijayanagara
right.
Empire just
Still,
immediately get on each other's case in the beginning of this century, it's very hard to cast off the Sultan's chains later. Oh, this is what you want to see if you've gone for the fort strategy as the Bamanis.
For this moment, I think I got to take it.
Yeah.
Every province with a fort may attack for free. Defender rolls no dice, and he's doing it. Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, who wouldn't take that?
This is consistent with the cavalry and forts Bamani strategy,
Defense dice, right?
especially up in the Rajput kingdoms. They're still.
Let's start with.
Yep, here we go.
Go ahead.
Rolling for 4s here.
Oh, and the Bamanis are going to take Madhya Pradesh with this.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got 0 hits there.
Not a great roll though.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Come
fine.
on, use your cavalry.
No, I'm not
The
gonna
Sultan
use it.
wants his cavalry used.
Do I want to maybe use 1? Get 1 hit. Would bring it to 4 to 5. All right, fine. I'll use 1 just to get 1 hit.
Haha, 1 used.
I'm dying.
All right, we're gonna go down here to Maharashtra. Let's try and get rid of that
Yeah.
Kasbah.
It is very reasonable. It
Oh,
is
man.
dead.
Let's pop over to
Losing that Kasbah hurts.
Madhya Pradesh with support from Maharashtra.
Yeah.
But how many guys did you use already in this attack? Previous one.
In
Oh,
TTS, unlike in
didn't
real
even-
life,
didn't
you
even
can
cross
keep
my
those
mind.
dice up in the air while you
Yeah,
decide
Yes.
whether or not you're going to support.
Oh,
Hold on. Yeah, I guess that's
So
Only fair.
one hit on Vijayanagara.
That's enough.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't even matter with my support. I guess I would have used cavalry.
Vijayanagara could
Can use-
screen 3 of those, but
Yeah, I should have
They're
attacked
still
you first, I
losing
guess.
Madhya
That's
Pradesh,
stupid.
so
But
better to
you
hold on to the
you
cavalry.
still win and get the victory influence things. So.
Yeah.
But the attacker has to commit first here. So that's the decision right now, is whether or not to...
Right.
Because I guess they're supporting with 2 from Maharashtra. So they're hitting on 4 or less. So they could spend cavalry to reduce those 5s to 4s.
One hit and get
And then lay out a huge number of hits that could drain Vijayanagara of either units or cavalry.
I guess I have no
Sounds
way
like
to
neither side are
do
using
it,
cavalry, though.
That's probably the right decision for both.
Okay, so we can actually do something before the Mongols show up again. Radical. The question is,
Sultan
what
getting the
do I
full
want?
command and decree.
Hmm.
Look at that! Look at that wall. Sultan's got a big wall of governors and Kasbahs and troops. That is, I think, if the Bahmanis don't penetrate that a little earlier than this, they may have a hard time doing it later. I mean, to get Gujarat, for instance, is going to require a crafty limited command followed by a full command and decree.
Cards is 16, 18. We are 3 cards in, 5 cards to go. 2 of those are
Yeah, we're
Mongols,
closing in on it here.
Yeah, yeah.
which will magnificently fuck me over anyway.
Sounds like Inquisitor's concerned about balancing Mongol defense versus
Limited
other
attack
things.
in Rajput kingdoms, supporting.
Did you get the memo that this was a family channel?
I didn't get that memo.
Let's go.
All right, I'm rolling.
That's better. So 3 hits versus 1.
I'm gonna screen just one of those hits.
Okay. 2 versus 1.
Well, cavalry, though, if you can hold on to them.
Mhm.
They're slowly getting drained, though.
Yeah, they are. That's
Okay,
a
that's it.
risk if
Money
if you lean too
is
much on cavalry.
paid.
And the Bahmanis now are well, they're fairly spread out. They'll do well in trade at least. That's probably, I guess that might be what it does. 3 emirs in a fort adjacent to Gulbarga. But if the Bahmanis don't block the event, Vijayanagara could migrate and remove a fort.
Events are hard.
That could provide Vijayanagara an opportunity to retake
You had
Bangladesh.
two really nice one in a row.
You've had very good events, yeah.
Yep.
What I'm as it
How do I not
stands
take
right now, it looks like the Sultanate is going to be pretty comfortable against the final Timurid invasion, if nothing else
Yeah.
befalls them.
Let's do it.
Which tells me that the Bahmanis and Vijayanagara might still want to lean together against the north, but we'll see how it plays out.
That's certainly not what this looks
on the
like.
flips.
This
Does not look like that. That's right.
This could very well be what the Sultanate needs.
Mhm.
The Vijayanagara and Bahmani antagonizing each other.
No, he doesn't
Oh,
rebel.
you're right, they
you
are.
do. Yeah, you do
Yeah.
because you get. Yeah, of course.
Right. I forgot.
Of course. Okay, Vijayanagara.
I like that governor in the back in Jaunpur, just watching, waiting. Getting pretty close to end game here, and then the final stack of 8 cards is 6 event cards and 2
Muted. We can't hear you.
Timurid invasion cards.
I'm really sorry. Yeah.
And it's on the second one that the game ends with Timurid's invasion. And so
3 dice.
that could be the first 2 cards of that last stack. So we could only have 5 more cards to go, or we could have 10 more cards to go.
Right,
11.
could be the last 2.
Mhm.
There's a lot of tension at the end there,
So you need a 1, so he doesn't.
especially
steal.
since we have a nice close game here.
And we're still waiting on both Mongol invasions for this stack, are we not?
Oh,
Oh, goodness. That's a bad roll.
Well, that's another one.
You have horses, you can make them better if you want.
Yeah, but I mean.
Oh, there we go.
6. Yeah.
yeah, no.
I can make a 2 and you will screen it, so it's definitely not worth it.
Did they just attack the Bomanies?
I believe so.
No horses for me. I guess no horses for you.
I'm gonna screen one of those hits.
Yeah. And so you can win the battle and gain influence by having
get 1 hit,
an
right?
epic
So
defense,
screening the hit.
and they will
Keep
tell the
going.
tale of your
No,
epic
no,
defense by your single Raja.
He has 3 guys
Or
only.
Amir.
He doesn't get any
Yeah.
hits. You don't have to use it.
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah.
My bad. I was thinking you were supporting with 2.
No. I can only support with 1. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep, you're
Yeah, you
right.
can only support from a temple with only
Okay,
1
so
Raja
next
into an adjacent
attack.
province when attacking. It's 2 for the other ones, but you get tax benefits for temples and rally
Yes,
benefits.
it's a problem. Oh no, it's okay. The next attack in Tamilukam with 1 support from Karnataka.
That one I do get to roll.
All right, that rolls a little better.
Okay, so let's charge the 2 to make 2 certain hits.
And this game, a 6, an unmodified 6 does not hit, but you can modify it with
You can
cavalry
screen
to
this
turn it
so he
into a
can't
hit.
get the second hit and you win automatically.
And a 1 cannot be screened
yeah,
or
yeah,
cancelled by the
I didn't
opponent's
check.
cavalry.
On the other hand, that would make them.
So what he just did was he
make them
just
lose horses, which is also
charged
good, so, yeah.
the 2 to a
It's
1 so that it cannot be
Yeah, but
screened. It's
I
a guaranteed
kind of
hit.
want to win the thing to
And in
hit
general, the number of hits
once,
is equal
so, yeah, let's
to
screen
the number of dice
4.
rolled that's less than or equal to the number of
Um,
units you have attacking or
I can't
defending.
do anything with my horses, right? So I just lose both these guys.
Yeah, and I lose 1 and we
Yep.
shift.
That did cost Vijayanagara 2 horses, but it was a success.
It's
Maybe
a
worth it?
success.
I hope
It's
correct.
expensive, but they get influence. That influence can allow them, when they compel,
And
to
final attack, I should
to
put
remove another
this
unit,
also changes, so
so they can fly across the
should
map,
be like
and
this now, I think.
they can do a lot of work with that
last
compel.
attack,
With
probably
influence.
Ninja. It's kind of suicidal, but yeah, okay. With should I really want to do it? I mean, 3 versus 3 should us. Yeah, let's hope it
I
rolls
think I should be at
well.
9 points. I just re-looked my score.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had 0 influence.
Right.
Oh yeah, but you have 5 forts. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get all
you're-
5
you are
forts
attacking,
out?
Andrew?
Oh,
Yeah,
big
I
fort
have cavalry
strategy.
support from Karnataka.
Big fort
Okay.
cavalry strategy. Pretty good. Oh man. It's fun to
Well,
watch
look at
3
that.
really good players play this game.
I can make it 2 hits with my cavalry.
Nice.
And so you can spend 4 horses if you want.
I can spend 2 to make it 2 hits, right?
Oh yeah, I'm super dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Instead of 2 horses. Okay, so I will lose this one and this one. And you lose 2. Well, it's some horses. And with the decree, we will tax for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right?
That's the number of Vijayanagara controlled independent provinces plus temples.
Looks fine.
I was about to say that had been a very costly turn for Vijayanagara, but that was a profitable tax. That sure made up for it.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
I am a bit in a
The final tiebreaker in the game, if their
I think
points
for
are
the
tied, is
first
a comparison
time
of
in this
resources.
game ever, I will have to pass.
And then, of course, if those are tied,
And then if those are tied, we go to an ancient asymmetric hunting game, the goat and tiger game,
Me. My spirit.
which is showing its age, I'll say.
About the Mongols.
But as a historical artifact and as an
Mongols, yeah.
asymmetric game from 1,000 years ago, I think it is very cool. It's etched into the side walls of the temples in Hampi, where Vijayanagara once stood.
Decent event.
At the very least, I adore that you guys included it in this as a cute little tiebreaker slash
know if that's what
oddity.
I'm doing now, though.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting. I like the history of asymmetric games and games in general. So there's a class, maybe you know this kind of thing, but there's a class of hunting games that kind of all came about historically at about the same time around the world. So there's a question of, did these games somehow, like the ideas, did they really transport across continents in the 10th century, or is it that they were basically speaking to fundamental human experience, and so they just kind of emerged independently?
Oh, that's fascinating.
These hunting games, like the Goats and Tigers game, is a hunting game. I'm giving away the answer by asking you this question, but who do you think the hunters are, the goats or the tigers? No. Yeah, the goats. That's right. The tigers.
But you're saying there's a whole series of these, and it's a question whether it was concurrent thinking or...
Yeah, no, it's not known. In this case, it's the goats that are the hunters.
Really?
But how could they possibly
so that cost me
capture
3.
the tigers? It's
Brings me down to
because if they work together, if you get sufficiently many goats, they can protect themselves and trap the tigers in, the dangerous tigers. So maybe it speaks to some fundamental human experience of living in a
then
dangerous
when
world and
creating
having to work
trade,
together. Who knows?
1,
That's
2, 3,
hand-wavy
4,
ideas.
5 resources.
There could be reasons why the same ideas
Brings
pop
me up
up
to 7,
throughout the world
and I get a horse.
independently.
I take it from the supply. How boring.
You indeed get a horse. Limited command, attack in Rajput kingdoms, 2 support from Malbar.
Okay.
Okay, that's 3 hits for me.
1 hit for me. So do I want to spend 3 of my precious horses? I can only need to spend 2 to protect the fort. No, I think Rajput Kingdoms is a lost cause. I'm not going to spend any horses.
Saving the horses.
So that's it for me.
Doc knows how to use his cavalry. And all 3 of these players have now played a few times, so that they have a much better sense of the timing. Like, when do you want to pull the trigger relative to the end of the game? You want to set yourself up with some good options at the end of the game.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful art on this card.
Mongols. Oh, nice.
I like this card.
Yeah, it is a nice event.
And this is certainly the type of effect that Sultanate wants to see, more Bamani Vijayanagara infighting.
Yeah.
It looks like we're winning right now, but if he defends against the Mongols, he gets 3 points.
Yeah. I know.
Wins.
He's winning.
They're putting it together.
Let's get rid of this.
But what are they going to do about it?
Oh, yeah.
What are they going to do about it?
I probably need to take the Command and Decree Plus. I will get tons of money for Lords of Deccan, which
I think that the Sultan's looking pretty good.
They are.
And the event, the event is not...
If the Bamanis and Vijayanagara work together, they might be able to sneak into Bengal.
And we are about to see the 2 Mongol invasions for this stack right at the end here, aren't we?
Thank you for reminding me of that, because the Sultan is, I'd say, strangely comfortable.
Yeah,
and that would be why.
That has a lot to do with why.
I can put 2 guys
Life
here,
is good when there's no Mongols.
Control back.
And that could be somewhat disastrous if those cascade directly into the Timur invasion cards at the top of the bottom stack, correct?
It could be.
I can probably get...
There are still some discussion among the designers about softening the probability distribution a bit in some ways. But right now, yes, that could absolutely happen. And I can't remember again, what is...
so that was 3 resources, right? Yeah. And
Gondwana and Madhyadesh.
should we build a
See, that's not very useful at this point because Gondwana is right here and Madhyadesh is right here in the center.
7, 8, 9
I think
there are no-
Inquisitor has been very intentionally playing around India range.
Nice.
Clever.
Ellie, we're in trouble. We
Clever.
gotta work together here.
Yep.
It sounds like
Is that it?
Gerard and
yeah, sorry.
Doc may have reached some sort of agreement to work together against Inquisitor.
Command,
Yeah, we'll see if it's not too late.
5 dukes
but
to
it's-
Delhi
Oh.
in case of the
All right, the defense begins.
starting Timur.
Inquisitor knows what he's doing up there.
All right, here we go. Mongol time.
Yeah.
Mongol time.
Nice try. This guy goes
Yeah, I saw that too.
Mongol invasion.
Okay, what's the right play here? So the Sultan cannot be reduced down to below 3 resources with an attack and plunder from the Mongol invaders. So there's no financial benefit
Think we
to
just amass and attack
having them
and
plunder
Punjab.
right now.
Get some of his pieces off the board.
Yeah,
Would you say that it's advantageous for the other two players to just start stacking Mongol troops?
Oh no!
in
we
the-
lost our-
Do you want to
Mongol player.
save on TTS in the event that
Yeah.
we just have a
Let me save.
This is just lengthening my agony here. The worst time for a person to drop. What shall I do as Mongols? Shall I invade you from here or from
All
here?
right, I just saved.
So sorry, what the question was? What should the Mongols do here? Or
Oh, yes. What do you feel the Vijayanagara and Bamani players should be doing with the Mongols at this moment? Since you were saying that it's not advantageous to try and attack Sultanate's resources, do you think they should just be building up troops in the mountain passes in Punjab?
well, if it is a case that they've got a double Mongol coming here, then I think the right thing to do is to get a lot of Mongol invaders into Punjab and to attack. Delhi's sufficiently defended right now.
Mm-hmm.
You hit Punjab very hard, and then that forces the Sultan to have to call up a bunch of troops, and then you hope that opens the door to sneak in. But where are those troops going to come from? They're going to come from
Also,
one
just
from
direct us
Sindh,
via
one
the
from
stream, I guess,
Gujarat.
right?
So it has to be a pretty big hit. There has to be a lot of Mongols left over in Punjab after the attack for it to be effective. But I think that's and then you just got to hope that the timing works out.
Here we are.
So a little bit of gambling at the end here.
All right, and there we go. Our player's back.
I should probably get yellow again. Yeah. Okay, so I was saying that we do not need to get resources, so it will probably be double mass. I mean, at least one of them.
I think we should amass and attack.
Yeah, but double mass and double attack, or I must attack.
Oh yeah, because I guess we know the next card. I didn't even think of that. The next
Yeah,
card's going to
yeah.
be Mongols too.
We have 4 Mongols, basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there is a difference. There probably is. Yeah, I mean, we could attack in Delhi. He has no horses, so we should probably be fine with it.
Okay, you could do.
So
You-
I will.
It'd be
that's
interesting
what's-
to. I was just thinking an advance from mountain passes into
And
Punjab,
let
and then on the
you
next Mongol card to advance
eventually
into
make,
Delhi
probably an
and to
advance and
attack with a
or
huge number of
Are you going to?
Mongol invaders.
Okay.
something. Yeah,
Compromise.
That would pull off a huge number of troops in the
no, I don't think
provinces.
yeah, horses are in a ball, so yeah. No.
Okay.
There it is, indeed. And as you say, this explains why the
Play
Sultan was so comfortable
advance
in the mid game.
and attack, right?
So it looks like they're going to do something
It looks nice.
not quite what you said, but similar. They're taking
Let's do
the
that.
troops from Punjab into
Let's
Delhi.
do it.
Yeah, this won't. Yeah,
So 3 dice only for you.
this will still leave a slightly stronger.
3 dice only for the
I'm not
Mongols.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you think this is perhaps not the best version of this
That's
course
what
of
my
action.
gut tells me, but I'd have to actually think about it, which I
Oh.
can't do while talking
3
and watching.
hits.
3 hits on me, 2 hits on the Mongols. Leaving you with 4, which
Pretty big hit.
means
8.
That's 8 troops from the provinces.
Troops.
and 8 troops.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, provinces.
Okay. So 1 from Sindh. 2, 3 Rajput. Mm-hmm.
From Jaunpur next, surely.
Oh, 5 Jaunpur.
There it
He's going to
is.
pull one from Malwa and one from
6
Gujarat.
Gujarat. 7 Malwa.
And then one more.
I also believe one Mongol goes back to
Yeah.
from Delhi.
And 1.
I might have taken from Malwa instead of Gujarat there, just because it's a little bit easier to shore up from Delhi.
A rough spot.
But that does open the door a little
still winning.
bit. A little bit. Not too much. But there's a lot of Amirs in Maharashtra.
All right, Lords of
Maybe
the
they can sneak up to Gujarat. But they have to do something.
does
yeah.
not have enough money.
Although, if
I,
Timur comes
this
early,
one, thank you for offering.
Delhi is not ready for the assault up in Delhi. So it could be Vijayanagara that squeaks out on this one. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Bets down.
I'm gonna pass as well.
Okay, so I will do it twice.
Need to get Vegas to cover these
get
odds.
Max influence.
Ooh. Vijayanagara is spending quite a lot on Lords of the Deccan here. I've never seen so much spent on it.
I think it's a decent move. I think if you plan ahead to be able to do that.
All right, next card. Here we go.
But it's a gamble. It's a gamble. They can still tax for a lot, and there may or may not be time for it, but it puts them in a good... Like, right now, I think Vijayanagara
What is that?
wins barely
3
if Timur
influence
comes.
for me?
But
And a failed draw.
So much is going to depend on when those Timurid invasion cards come out.
Oh, 3. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
yep. It's close enough to go to anybody
hard
right
to
now,
turn
for
down.
sure.
Yeah, it looks cool.
And there's a lot of intermingling between the Bahmanis and the Vijayanagara Empire right now, so that the Bahmanis can benefit from
3 influence.
from that here. So they're going to get 3 influence and stay eligible. That's a probably the right play. Probably, although it gives the Sultan
Remove.
the command and decree.
Oh, yeah, you gain, but he doesn't lose. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, not a swing.
Ooh, yeah. Now I'm fucking behind.
I still think if we get two Timbers here, you probably win, right? You can probably hold it off.
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah, maybe.
Maybe not.
7 cards remaining. You will remain eligible off of this card. Jesus fucking Christ.
I love his voice.
I mean, I have to risk it. It's command and decree. Take the money for 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 2 horses and rally. Or conscript, that is. 2 in Bengal.
Yeah, conscript is the right thing because that'll protect Gujarat. I think, the gamble here is
2 in Malwa. That's 1.
no, he's fine because he's going to get 5 more in Delhi. I think he's
2 in
probably still winning, but
Gujarat.
it depends on when Timur comes.
That's 1 too many. That's 1.
Shoring up those
And the rest
2 prosperity
in Delhi.
provinces. Oh, but that was the choice, is he couldn't fully. No, he does. Okay, I couldn't see him. Now he's probably pretty prepared. For
Yeah, that's a lot of cubes in Delhi, and there's a force in Punjab to help
That's it.
pick off some
and
Mongols.
he's got two cavalry. That'll help.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Here we go.
Nope.
Not over yet.
Competition over ports boils over,
Okay,
or
so
struggle for
yours
critical
is,
maritime routes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I've heard
7,
Goa
8,
is
9, 10,
absolutely
11, 12,
lovely.
7.
I would
Is
like
it
to
7,
travel there
7?
someday.
No.
Greatest number
I
of
forgot one.
pieces.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think it mixes a lot
7
of
to 6. I think
8.
I have the edge.
Indian and Portuguese architecture and cuisine and
Oh,
or
interesting.
8 to 7 if you count the temple and fort.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of that.
Bit like Macau, probably, in that regard.
Problem is, yeah, Delhi is probably still winning, but if I want to get to the Sultanate, I need to command and decree, and then I'll let you the event, which is not great, but
We might work out a deal where you could pay me some resources and I could not take the event, maybe. Because, yeah, I agree. It would be better if we both focused on the Delhi at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're brokering a potential
just to,
trade.
Remind you, Vijayanagara, that technically PK only needs one influence point for me not to be winning anymore, and that he would be winning. Because there's no way I'm beating him on resources, and he only needs one move, and he's at 13 or 12, and I can't touch him.
Yeah,
and he's going to take the point from you. So happily focusing on me might have a few unfortunate drawbacks in the future.
Yeah, but yeah. I see what you mean, but if I don't go, yeah.
Negotiations are underway.
They are.
It will feel a bit king-making.
You can trade resources and cavalry in this game
But yeah,
at any time.
so the point is, I am ineligible, and I'm out of resources.
Yeah, no, I mean, I probably cannot leave. See, I mean, it's not such a great event, but it's still cool, and you're still eligible.
Definitely matters what he does here, I think.
If I do just a command...
So I guess here's a question for you, Saverio. Do you see a path forward for Gerard to win?
Oh, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm...
That's a good question.
Okay, let's do the command and decree.
It depends. I mean,
With the decree,
if the Bahmanis overcommit to Bengal or not Bengal, but Gujarat, you could try to sneak into Maharashtra late or something with a quick double move, migrate, compel, attack kind of thing. That would be a very dramatic, last desperate gamble. It's tough for the Bahmanis. Got those cavalry there. I mean, rebelling in Jaunpur, that gives them 1, pulls the Sultan down 1, but the Bahmanis are still ahead.
Fine.
Right.
Maybe they need to make a deal with the Sultan, actually? It's not clear. Maybe that's their best bet. Make a deal with the Sultan to pull down the Bahmanis, and then somehow, in back channels, try to aid Timur.
I guess it's not too bad.
Not sure. I'm sorry, I didn't understand how many points the Vijayanagara Empire had. I thought they were underneath the Sultanate's victory points, so they are actually in the lead right now. So a path to victory for them is... how
about we work out a deal, VJ?
Jaunpur. Yeah. Just take Jaunpur, and...
If you pay me 3 resources, I won't take the event.
Well,
it's too early in the last act to make that gamble, I think. Because if they thought the game was ending right now, they could take the deal, rebel in Jaunpur.
I should have taken one more. That was the whole point. Okay, I guess it's too late. I'm really dumb. I don't know how to read. 3 resources is really expensive.
It's very expensive. There still could be a few cards left.
Don't forget that he can also do something else with his turn then. So, you know.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. 3 resources is too expensive. I'm so dumb. I thought I had blocked it.
I think Vijayanagara doesn't mind if the Bahmanis take the event here.
I don't think Gerard realizes that. Sounds like he's very upset that he didn't block the event.
Paid, not tax as your.
Why did you need these resources? So
Ability.
I think you.
I think he's catching on to it.
No, I think take what you want.
Yep, there you go.
I mean, play
Really
what you
I
want,
wanted.
and don't take my resources.
I really just
Francois is
don't
onto
want
it now.
that badly, but I feel like I have to.
I guess so.
So I was hoping I could get some payment to do something else. Let's see here. This is a tough
Anybody's
spot.
game. So the Abominis with their cavalry, if they have enough time.
Game ends now. It's gonna be Delhi.
Yeah.
I can't really do anything about that though. I have to hope that you successfully rebel over there.
Yeah, that's a plan.
There's enough cards to gamble. He's probably going to get another turn.
Just do some attacks.
Yep.
Try and get some influence.
Yep. Might be time to spend the cavalry. Orissa, supported from Madhya Pradesh. Andhra, supported from Maharashtra. Throw some cavalry at it. Influence shift. You're now winning if Timur comes. Oh, I don't know.
Keep going. I keep going back and forth. Well, what do I want to do? Sorry.
The question is,
No worries.
do you think Timur's coming or not?
Right.
Rapid command or the stupid event.
Take all the time.
Oh, suspense. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, endgame is stressful.
Yeah. Game's gonna be decided by one of these decisions here.
For you, endgame is stressful. For the Sultanate, the entire game is stressful. It's basically a stress management simulator.
Yeah.
Everything is burning. Oh, again.
Yeah, I'm one ahead. Is this score right? Let's check the score.
Yeah, we
3.
can.
Oh, that's a good idea.
8, 9. I'm only at 9. Jeez, that changes a lot of things actually.
He lost a fort. Okay.
3.
Is mine totally wrong too? Yeah, I'm at 13.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, okay, that changes.
Oh,
3, 4,
oh my.
5,
Oh my god.
Well, that's the path forward to Vijayanagara winning this.
Yeah, no
Counting their points.
9 plus 4,
Yeah.
Salt and score, correct?
So yeah, no longer am I winning if the game ends now.
How did that happen?
Yep.
That's true.
We should probably have looked at that. So yeah.
It is so easy to get caught up in the game and forget to count
Diligent spectators
points.
Notice if our score is incorrect, but I guess not.
I will be curious to find out if there were any extra nerves though, because I think that kind of thing, these players are normally kind of second nature. Maybe it should be said that the finalists in this game, having already secured their place here today, already
I guess I'm gonna take the event.
have won a free copy of the game once it
team up
prints,
against you next turn.
and will be acknowledged in the playbook. And what they're playing for is the winner. GMT Games has
Fingers crossed.
generously offered an in-stock game of their choice. So that's what's on
your units
on the line.
Just remove mine, right?
And glory, of course.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was replace. You're right.
Yeah,
Jeez,
it's just
that makes it
move,
so much worse. Oh, now I don't like that event.
Change?
Okay, do you just want to do something else then?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna Rogers back.
Attack maybe?
Yeah, I'm thinking limited attack in Andhra here.
Okay, sure.
Supporting from
Support from these two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
See, I would consider maybe doing a limited rally there with the plan on the next turn to do a wider attack with more support.
Okay, good.
For me.
3 hits from me.
Mm-hmm.
You have no cavalry. You got 2 hits, right?
Yeah. I got no horses.
Because the influence shift doesn't depend on the size of the victory; it just depends on whether or not there was a victory at all. So.
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
screen
Still
one of
just
them.
at 1 point there.
Okay.
But again, it's a gamble.
So I
And
take
you
one
get
hit
3
here.
hits, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I win that. I get an influence shift off that.
Yeah. I should put this over here.
Now,
And
big
then-
question is
And
who's
I
first
should
to
use
act?
one more because it's not controlled by me anymore.
So that's a noticeable
Okay.
swing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a swing. Oh yeah, no, there could be
Game
some
back
pretty
to
big
cavalry in
swings,
case.
especially if there's cavalry involved.
It's
End
alright.
game.
All set here, right?
Okay.
Next card.
Who's
Next
first to
card.
act?
Okay.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So I can give you a free build, which is a point for you, which is actually not bad. But on the other hand,
I'm sure your listeners will want to know that Madhava of Sangamagrama was looking at infinite series representations of functions 200 years before Newton was.
That is a legitimately interesting fact.
on the other hand, how many times do I get a chance to actually have a command and decree? 5 cards remaining. Jesus, do I?
So Inquisitor is wondering whether this is his last chance to get a command and decree. What do you think he should do with it if he does take one?
A place, and these troops need to be in my supply box, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not very
See
useful.
here. Okay, so
That's not
okay, so
very
this event he
useful,
could
is
knock
it?
out Tamilakam and he could gum up the gears in Orissa. And he could cause no, I see. He's concerned that he doesn't have them available, so he can't use it.
Right.
Yeah, that I've seen I've seen that card used at the very end of a game to with great skill gum up the gears in the southern provinces. But since he doesn't have the troops for it, then what does he do with the command decree? I'm thinking I would maybe march and demand
I don't know what
obedience.
to do.
But no, there aren't.
I have no clue what to do.
But then you're opening up the door to Bengal. Yeah, it's again a gamble. Does he think the game is going to end right now or not? So maybe a campaign, but from where? Malwa to block control. I mean, so he could just march one troop from Bengal to Orissa to remove control from Vijayanagara there. Really short on cash though, huh?
Yeah. Which a command and decree could be a collect tribute, but that doesn't leave a decree for campaigning.
It doesn't. So okay, that's interesting. The Sultan gets 3 resources.
I was
when
sitting
they
here
pass.
wondering whether a pass might be smart because of that.
I think that's a decent play. That is a decent play.
I think we're going to command a decree.
Bit of a gamble, as are they all. As the Bominis continue to get chances to use their cavalry superiority.
Hold on, I got to do some math here, guys.
Excellent timing with the card.
Gotta do some math.
Is this the new math I hear so much about?
This is some pretty funky new math we got right here. The whole game is just a ruse. It's just an attempt to get more people to learn calculus.
I feel like I'm trying to solve one of Saverio's puzzles right now. Like, how do I lock in the game now? I don't think I can.
Yeah, I started to do a little bit of that. I mean, I like chess puzzles, for instance, and as just kind of a fun way to either learn the game or just to enjoy it. I started to make a couple little puzzles, like I give you a board state, and then
migrate over here.
Win the game with the right set of actions and commands, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fun.
2, 3 guys.
Might be a fun thing to put in a playbook to help people learn the game.
I know some people are really into those sorts of things. In the Root community, there's a creator who's made some things like that, and they're very popular.
Cool, very cool. I only recently just got into Root, but it is really cool.
I might like it a little bit.
That much was fairly clear, actually.
One more guy over here. So that's 2 migrates.
Yeah.
Plus 1 influence shift. That's 1, 2, 3.
These are some interesting migrates because they're taking ground away from Vijayanagara, but they're not affecting the Sultanate.
And then for my decree, I'm going to
Yeah, that's right. So it's gonna be tight, but I think if the Bahmanis and Vijayanagara only go after each other right now, the Sultan probably wins. Not guaranteed, but probably wins.
Okay, so I lost 1, 2, 3, I guess.
But that's a big swing. That's a big swing.
All right, Timur, let's go.
I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize that the Bahmanis could get control so rapidly of those provinces. So now it does matter.
Okay. Is the score correct for everyone?
Yeah, I'm checking.
This happens sometimes if the Vijayanagara Empire gets, they have to spread, they have to push north a bit.
Yep.
But if they spread too thin in doing so, they can get cut off in Andhra, especially.
Okay.
Right.
Pull the card.
And then it's hard to support.
Here's our first Timurid Empire.
It's half rounded down, right?
2 guys,
2
yeah.
more. Come on, Timur. 1, 4.
All right. The game could end at any moment now.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically there should be a heart attack warning on the game box somewhere.
2 badges.
Just as Bahmani pulls ahead, this event comes out.
Stay eligible as well.
Yeah, which is nice. I'm checking.
Telangana's.
I do it.
Yeah, could be the swing back. Except I'm gonna help Vijayanagara remind them that 2 of these Rajas are actually.
Oh yeah.
Actually, while you're on that, could you grab the 2 that are in Bahmani Kingdom's supply box?
Change a bit the situation.
Oh, what are they doing up there?
Right.
Okay, this is a mess. Okay, that's better.
We got a little lost on the way home.
The Bahmani Kingdom was a center for high culture. They had many of Vijayanagara's populace in its walls.
And I will place 2
a lot of reasons.
guys in Gondwana.
Okay, and that flips.
And I will free attack you.
Oh, do we just see the same shift back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Gondwana.
Free attack. No dice to defend.
Oh no.
No fort. That no fort makes a big difference.
It does.
Bahmanis have 3 cavalry.
You're not rolling.
Oh, that's a good roll.
That is a good roll. That's a really good roll.
That's what's going to do it. Even if the Bahmanis spend all 3 cavalry, they're still going to win, get the influence shift. That ties them up. Bahmani's still ahead on resources, though. So exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to screen 3 of them?
Yeah, I needed 4 hits.
It is such a tug of war between Bahmani and Vijayanagara with that zero-sum influence track.
I only got 3 hits. I feel like it'd be an easy screen.
Yeah.
Now I think
I still lose an
18 begins.
influence.
Yeah, that's a tough decision too.
Even if I blow all my horses. So yeah, I don't think I
might spend
don't
one
think I'm gonna do it.
cavalry, maybe two.
Okay, and we're back
Wow.
to
Okay, so that
but you have more resources.
Which just
And
opens the window
you
for
can
Sultanate
still
again.
win on the
Delhi's gonna
tournament.
win on the Timur here, yeah.
Yeah.
Not fortunate. Jeez.
Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
the Telanganas were in the.
Time, though. So yeah, if Timur comes this turn, then I'm at an excellent spot.
Yeah, you probably win. Yeah.
If Timur doesn't come this turn,
Those were the same Telanganas, by the way, that
Still pretty
helped
good.
the
I
Bahmanis
think
against the
Delhi's
Sultan
gonna
about
take this
40
one,
years
to be
ago. So
don't be so sure yet.
How the tables turn, huh?
how they do. Some real Game of Thrones stuff happened in that century. That's for sure. He says on the turquoise throne card.
I need to think of it.
Yeah, no worries.
33% chance. I'll try to entertain you with my thoughts at the same time. So there's a 33% chance of end game. You both have lots of money, so that's not stopping you.
This final game did not disappoint.
If I risk with
This has been a
limited
tight one.
command,
It
then
has.
we'll all
It's great.
be eligible next turn.
That's a great point. Inquisitor just mentioned that everyone's going to be eligible in the next card depending on what Inquisitor does. Assuming it's not just the end of the game.
Remaining eligible is can be very important in the end game. So if he's going to take that command of decree, he needs to really get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the gamble, right? Because he could do that. He could.
Many of the options I really have.
It's fair.
Options looking pretty good to me. You got a 1 in 3 chance of winning from you.
Yeah, maybe limited command govern.
If we draw Timur next, if you draw Timur now, then I win, and that's magical and excellent, and nothing to do with my generalship, but luck. But what if I don't draw it?
I would do maybe a govern in
then
Malwa.
Will hurt me a lot.
A limited govern in Malwa. Get that governor out there, and then if you get command of decree and have the same problem in a card from now, then maybe you swoop in to demand obedience.
I'm not risking it. It's gonna be a limited command.
Govern in Gujarat.
Actually.
Nope, taking it back.
Should it be a limited command?
You know what he could do? He could go on the offense against the Mongols. He could command decree, and he could campaign into mountain passes and then attack in Delhi and mountain passes.
Yes.
That would be one thing to do. But I like staying eligible. I think this is better. As soon as he puts the governor down in Gujarat, do it.
Let's move.
Oh, that's not a govern.
It's fair. It's okay. But you know, he can.
One.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't mind that.
You'll allow that?
But Vijayanagara can compel and with influence can remove a unit. So
these will come here. 2 of them will die. 4.
So yeah, so Vijayanagara could compel into Jaunpur and remove. So
2 dice should be okay. Yeah.
If he's trying to protect Jaunpur, he needs more troops in there. But then you're opening up. He's fine in Bengal. Yeah, close. Yep, gotta count.
Yep. Let's leave it like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Leeds Compel would require a full
All right.
command and decree from Vijayanagara, though.
1 in 3 chance. Oh,
Not
it's
Timur.
not over.
Oh my.
Mhm.
Taghi the Elusive.
2 cards remaining. May place up to 2 units in each of Sindh and Gujarat. Ugh.
This opens the door to Sindh in the west, and this is actually how Muhammad bin Tughlaq died, chasing this guy around all over
That's
from
unreasonable.
Gujarat into Sindh in the west, and never returned to Delhi. I kind of like the spider web on that card.
It's a very interesting art.
Mhm.
So this
It's
is
a photograph from Sindh.
Gotcha. So this is a potential point for Bamani if they take the event. No, 2 points, isn't it?
Sindh.
One for the
Let's see, they
influence,
take the
one for
event, they
the...
get-
So that
controlling
basically
Sindh.
gives you 2.
No, they get 3 points because they place a fort, remove the
Oh, the
tributary
fort.
marker,
Out
get
of
the
the
influence.
blue.
So that's 3 points, drops down the Sultan by a point. It's a great event for them.
And there's no way.
Don't
that
think the
Gujarat
Sultan can let them
is
have
going
it.
To block that, he's going to do his other things.
Definitely.
So if
I think
Sultan
this
has to
is-
block that, that's Sultan's last action for the game.
That is
So I guess
correct.
the answer is use this as command. And let's attack. Let's start with Delhi.
All right, we're going on the
For
offensive.
1 coin. Can someone please
Yeah, I can.
be the
Oh, yeah.
opponent here?
I'll go for it.
Okay, if the Sultan pokes into Madhya
So
One hit.
the Sultan
1
can
hit
block.
against me.
Yeah,
Mongols are dead.
it would require a really lucky roll attacking from
Then we
Gujarat
attack
into Madhya.
Jaunpur,
Here.
supporting with 2 from.
I don't remember why those Rajas are rebelling up there.
From
I actually don't remember how they got there.
They've been
I'm
there
gonna
for a while. I can't... Was it
Malwa.
Okay.
What was it that put them there?
How did those rebelling Rajas get into Jaunpur?
With a compel.
That was a while ago.
And
Yeah.
they
Thanks.
removed the governor, so they were rebelling. I think it's correct.
That's the story. Thank you.
No worries.
So enough hits for me. How many hits did you get?
None, because
Okay.
I wish I could unmute in other sporting events and
Yep.
just ask the players when they're on a field, like,
you spend 1 resource.
why did you try that pass?
Yes, I won. And then we attack Madhya Desh.
Yeah, it's risky, but you got to do it.
from
May as well.
Gujarat with 2 troops.
Okay.
May
I'll
as
roll it.
well.
Only get 3
Yep.
dice here.
I mean, it's your last action.
Yep.
Got to roll well. That's not good enough.
Nope.
How much? What did you roll?
I got 1 hit.
You got 1 hit. I got nothing, which is sad.
Yeah, needed 2 hits there.
Um,
No, that's not true. Is that a 2? Oh, only rolled 3 dice because of the fort.
Yep. Just the 4-4-3 roll. I mean, Sultan's still in a good
Oh.
spot, though.
Would have been great to remove that fort, though.
It would have.
Sultan is looking good, but
okay, that's it.
what can the Bahmanis do? Bahmanis can...
Command and decree.
this could be a big swing. Ooh, what's in here? What to do? Compel attack. Compel attack in Madhya Desh. They have influence, so when they compel in Madhya Desh, they could remove the Amir and then attack the fort out. That's a
That would be
2-point
spicy.
swing. If they migrate,
Rally here.
Okay, when they migrate, they can do the extra
Then
economic
place it
building
for
to
resource.
switch
So
the.
2 free resources, 2 shift influence. And we should.
Okay. Okay, this is a more diplomatic way to
That's -1 for you.
to
And
shift the
+1
influence
for
in the
me,
Deccan.
And this
I
should
approve.
flip. So that's +1 for me, -1 for you. And this should be removed. So this is -1 for you.
Fair enough.
And with the decree, we will probably build a temple.
What a
Wow.
what a swing for
Wow.
Vijayanagara.
Wow.
And leaving Bamani with just a limited command or a pass.
The gods of Timur.
Wow. Okay, that was.
limited command I gotta use here, I guess, right?
Oof. What a swing. Big migration. The Vijayanagara is huge because they have so much influence. They have so many Rajas, and they
Think
can
we're
really
gonna
spread out.
limit
So they did a
attack
good job
here
of
in
building
Andros.
up that influence. Dominis don't have too many choices right here.
But they're gonna be the only one eligible on the last card, assuming
Yep.
it's
If there's a last card,
If
they
there's a
might
last
be able
card.
to pull it back.
Me, 1 hit for you.
Yeah.
You have no
Wait,
cavalry, right?
You have support from here. That's 3 hits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, true.
And if you use a cavalry, you get 4 hits and kill his temple as well.
Mm-hmm.
Soft whispers from the Sultan in Delhi.
And then we are all back to 12, and Delhi wins, something like this, no?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I want to screen that hit as well. So yeah, I have 3 hits.
Yes.
I spend 1 more. 4 hits. And then y'all screen this guy as well.
Okay, and so I will lose 2 points.
That cost me 1.
Most.
He's in play.
I shift up an influence.
He's in
Yeah,
play.
sure. I shift down,
And then you gotta hope.
Influence.
Will there still be time?
Okay, I think that's it, right?
Do you your points are
I don't
fine?
think points are correct.
No, I didn't update them, so I should get +2 there, right?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Victory
10.
point leapfrog.
Okay, I think this is gonna be it, right? If it's Timur, it's probably gonna be.
No, Vijayanagara wins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
Vijayanagara on
If
resources.
it's not Timur, I'm the only eligible one, right? I'll get a
Yeah.
chance to respond.
So it's the 50-50.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we'll see.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Down to the last card!
That is so crushing for Delhi to miss Malik Kafur.
So yeah,
If
what do I
only
do?
I had
That's
My command and decree.
mhm.
All right, so now we're into Saverio's puzzles.
Well,
What is my?
you can probably destroy me enough so that you're sure to win.
Bominis to play and win.
That's right. Pamani is to play and win. Yeah, I just gotta think. Thinking like if I migrate down here, I move all my pieces,
Migration probably gets
and
this
then I
done.
take the influence shift. That's -1 for you,
Bominis have to get
+2 for me.
just 2 more. That's enough. That'll do it, I think.
And then I
2 more
win
and
the
having
tiebreaker.
2 or more
That's
resources, right?
Yeah.
Because they've got the
Yeah,
resource lead for the tiebreaker win.
Yep. Or I could win by even more if I migrate here.
You're not supposed to
Here.
run up the score.
Or then
I think.
conspire, right?
It's not just about winning. It's about how hard you win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. migrate these guys down here.
Like I said, Doc did his homework before the tournament began, so I think it's all paid off. And
This spot.
yeah, this was really cool that he's gonna show the game to some people at PAX.
I migrate this guy over here. And I can spire this guy away.
I would guess he'll be a good ambassador for the game.
It's mine.
I would think so, riding high off of his victory here.
I also migrate 3 guys here. Gives me a spot.
Okay, so that's 3 resources for now.
3. Did you take my resources?
No.
So it's 4 resources for me for the influence shift as well.
Yes.
Whoa.
So this is another one, I guess. Well, we'll check later, but
Yeah.
The wheel turns.
Yep, there it is.
Real question.
The team are knocking on the door.
Okay.
That's
it.
Delhi
Yes, this is
to
correct.
likely come in a comfortable second.
2, 3,
Very likely.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Unless there's a point miscount and someone's about to gain 6 points.
True.
That was a big change in the game a while back.
Yeah, 14 for you, and that is good, I guess. It hasn't changed. Yeah.
And there it is.
Game over. Hammer time.
Yeah, this game could have gone to anybody for sure.
Absolutely.
Tense Timur. A rather disappointing one.
Oh, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. It was well played. It basically came down to guessing when the end card is gonna be.
Yeah.
So I'll make one more hit out of this and 2 hits basically.
4 hits from the Mongols.
Yeah.
I think you said 2 hits, right, on you?
Yep.
All right.
And now it's
Pathetic
3
Mongol
dice.
force in
3
attacking
dice.
Delhi.
I'll be really curious to
Okay.
hear what these guys have to say about
2 and 2.
this game or their strategies going in. Or the month.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's the ball game.
Good game. Well played.
What a game.
Very
Good
nicely
game,
done.
guys.
Yeah, very, very tense. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool game, guys. Way to go. Way to go. And
Thanks.
congrats, Doc.
Yep.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome stuff. That was really fun to watch. Great ends to a really good month. I'd said to Garrick already, but you'll all remember that by securing your spot in the final game, you won a copy of the game once it prints, and then also to Doc for carrying the Bomanies to ultimate victory here. We'll secure a game of his choice from the generous GMT games, presumably in
Nice.
stock games, but we'll get that sorted out.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much to everybody, all the designers, GMT. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you,
organizing
guys. Thank you,
the
everyone.
whole tournament.
Did you come into this game with a particular strategy? Any of you? Was any thoughts on that?
As Delhi, basically, I abandoned the south quite early, only to go there when necessary to annoy the opponents. And basically, I don't touch the mountain passes at all. Didn't touch them this game. Didn't really matter at all. So the one part of the game which is, as I told Saverio, is the Mongol part for the Sultan, which is basically very very calculable of what you need to do to survive.
Yeah, my strategy. My strategy coming in was kind of like the Inquisitor had correctly noted, to just kind of build up my economy and spread out early and give me flexibility to see what happened from there. And yeah, kind of worked out.
Yeah. I basically hoped that Deli and BK would hit each other quite a lot during the early to mid game, letting me gather my forces, which I think kind of happened, and so it was cool.
It was a pretty tense end game. Definitely could have gone in any direction for a
All
while.
three of us were in it at the very end.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Couldn't have been closer.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for letting me peek on your final here. That was really entertaining. You guys all did great.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Garrick, for hosting the stream.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh!
They did it.